Headphones on, let's do this.
Hey, do you know of a podcast I could listen to that has nerd and comic books and stuff? I really can't find one.
I say, you ever heard of the Nerd Dome podcast?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Dome Podcast, episode 279. I'm your podcast without fear, Luke, and today I am joined by someone who may or may not have passed away during the intro.
I'm here. Hello.
He has risen like the phoenix.
Uncanny Riot.
As
Woke up
well
just
as-
for this.
Quick, one of you, go.
Traffic
And
jam.
I'm the alliterative Andrew.
Yeah, and classic Chris Hoffman. How are you guys doing?
Oh, you know,
Good.
Oh yeah.
so great, so great.
So great.
So great.
Feeling felt
The-
and seen.
I almost fell into the Trump impression, but I'm not going to subject anyone to that. So, Chris, Andrew, you guys had some stuff at going on Free Comic Book Day over the past weekend.
For free?
How did that go for you?
Yeah, well, they have it's every year. How many customers come in and say the comics are all free? And it's like, yes, that's the business model. They just have all the comics, and then you can come in once a year, and then they're all free.
It's like the purge, but just with capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah, comic book stores haven't figured it out after doing it for many, many years. They're like, well, I don't know how. I just have this X-Men #1 on the shelf, and everybody just waits for Free Comic Book Day and takes it. So you
They can't-
laugh,
they
man.
can't
It
be-
is funny because it is. You have to tell the new employees. It's like, for real. They're gonna just turn around and hold anything in their hand. Like, is this one free? No. Or then the other one is like, well, it says 10 cents on the cover. Is it 10 cents? Why is it $300? And
Because it came out in the 50s.
yeah. So if you don't like dealing with those questions, don't work at a comic book store.
There's I'm fine. This is mind-boggling. There can't be that many people that are like that. Are there?
There's
You're kidding, right?
yeah, there's a disturbingly high amount of people because there should be none.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so even if it was 3, that's like, where are you guys from? You know, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how-
no, that was all day for Free Comic Book Day. And then that happened a lot of times with the old books. Certainly. Yeah, Chris is speaking the truth here. Yeah, can speak from my own experience.
it's funny. But so Free Comic Book Day it's Nerd Christmas, right? There's a set of comic books that come out from some of the big publishers and some indie publishers where it's a set of free comic books, and they are not free for the store. That's another thing that's an insider thing about Free Comic Book Day, is that the comics are not free for the store. They pay a very low price, but they do pay for each issue, but they give them away to their customers so that people will get into the comics. A lot of times it's like some of the publishers have used it as an opportunity to start a new series, introduce a character, or republish something that was popular to get people into it. So it's all an idea of that if someone comes in, grabs a free comic book, and then they're like, oh my God, I love the Fantastic Four. This is great. I've never heard of them before, but I read a comic with it, and now I need to know where this story is going. So they made a whole holiday about it. And pre-pandemic, it was getting to the point of lunacy. There would be stores with an 2 or 3 hour long line going out the store, bands in the parking lot, huge sales and such. It really got to the point of like, how is this sustainable?
Turns out
and
it
then
wasn't.
turns out it wasn't. Yeah, there was no way to keep that going. But it has been slowly recovering since COVID. But first happens in the United States, first weekend in May every year, and your mileage may vary about like what the comic book stores, what the policies are in your area. The Nerd Store and Dr. Volts is always kind enough to extend an invite to local artists to come out and participate. So we were invited to Dr. Volts this year at their new location in the Gateway, or newest location. They've been there for a while now. And so it was a cool space. The Gateway is a mall in Salt Lake City, Utah that was built to capitalize on the 2002 Olympic Games. And it fell into disarray when a brand new mall opened up not too far away from it. And it fell into, like having no stores, its flagship stores leaving, but now is actually kind of recovering into like a cool spot of like some weird stores and some niche things. So like obviously there's a comic book store right next door. There's a place where you can go there and you can paint, like do this spin art, drip art activity thing. Next to that, there's the Urban Arts Gallery that has all this cool Utah artwork and stuff. So it's like this cool, there's like a food court in the area, and we got to kind of sit there, and we were there with our good friends, Evan Black, who's the creator of Wasatch Wonders, and our other good friend, Travis Romney, who created the Mighty Utah. And so even when, for a lot of us, if it's not a huge sales event, it's a good time to hang out and chat with our friends and stuff. I think we made a couple of people's day by having like some free stuff there. I brought like a box of Ninja Turtle cards, those ones from the late 80s, early 90s, and just told people, here, have some, And Andrew collected a bunch of those and a bunch of like the old Marvel cards. I was making buttons out of them, and then we gave away those buttons as well, and some old games that we had and stuff. And so it's really nice to see people when they come in, and they just, a good amount of people were just walking by in the mall, and they're like, what the hell is Free Comic Book Day? And so we'd send them in the store and be like, get your free comic books, then come back out here and talk to us for a minute, One thing that I thought, so that was super fun. We sold a few comics and stuff like that. What I did notice is if you put us, Travis, and Evan right next to each other, then the first booth you stop at, or first table you stop at, they go, I have a comic about superheroes in Utah. And then the second table, you walk there, and the guy goes, I have a comic book about a superhero in Utah. And then the third one, we would sit there and we'd be like, we were the first superhero comic book heroes in Utah. And the Gull, who has since moved. So, but yeah, it's pretty fun because we were able to hype each other up and stuff. And Evan just came out with a crossover comic that has all three teams' characters in it. So people would buy a copy from him, and then the comic would get sent down all three tables for us to sign and kind of chat with people. And yeah, I mean, it was a really good time. Those were the fun things about it. Andrew, you want to tell them about? Oh, you had some work stuff you had to do, so you came by a little bit late.
Yeah, I came by in the afternoon because I had a end of semester portfolio review at the community college for the advanced design class. And so after reviewing some excellent student work, I head downtown and joined my pals at the front of Dr. Volts, signing books and meeting people. Got to run into a lot of old friends from the shop. It was a good time all around. It was terrific, and we got to say goodbye to Jeff, who is no longer working at Dr. Volts after many years now.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a good time. I did have a question because I guess my question is, what do you think like the future of Free Comic Book Day is going to look like with all of the because it's Diamond that used to be the ones that would send out all the comics and stuff like that. Do you think that's going to change? Or do you see any change in the future?
Oh, I don't know if we're getting another free comic book day. It would be great if this kept going, but as far as I know, this was it. Chris?
Yeah, I don't know. There's been no official word, right? Like
No.
nobody's said anything, but yeah, I will talk about the nonsense going on over with Diamond, but there's a chance the next version of it will be self-made, a DIY version of it, right? Which hopefully will end up being something I don't know. I know that when the very first free comic book day that I ever did was with Black Cat Comics 15 years ago, and with my indie comic, the Banana Panic, which was just something I printed off at the printer at work without telling anybody, and then I would just give away at the store. And so that very first free comic book day, I just printed some of mine with the logo that said Free Comic Book Day on it and gave those out. And so I don't know, we may have to like change the name to say like the Day of Free Comics or no cost comics day.com or whatever.
Annual no cost comic promotion spectacular.
It just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Yes,
.co.uk. Yeah. And so that seems like
in there.
There's still an appetite for it, right? Like if it's something as a promotional tool and as like a thing that what I could tell you a few things is one that most of the comic book stores that I've ever talked to said that they had really good sale days on Free Comic Book Day, but they never saw someone come back. Almost never. I mean, never is a big term on that, but almost never saw anybody come back because they got a free comic book on Comic Book Day and then came back later and was like, now I'm a comic book reader. It's more of like a affirming to the community type of thing. So did it work as like a way to bring in new readers? Maybe not as directly, but also if you just have a whole bunch of free comic books sitting around your house that you like don't care about like what the condition is going to be, it's a good chance that like little ones can get a little bit more of a chance to read it and over again, right? So that was the deal, is that the stores liked it as a sales tool. Everybody said that their sales always do really well. And this year's no different, even though there were fewer people participating in it in this year, saying that it was not the madhouse of, people coming in for the free comics, but that the sales were still up and as a really, really good banner sales day. So I think they will miss that if it doesn't happen again, and maybe they can organize something with a way to do it themselves and figure out a way to do it. But yeah, and it's for current incarnation, probably not going to be exactly the same way.
We can just learn to give away all of our Deathmate Blacks.
Actually, yeah, that'd be the thing. All us Gen Xers and above who just have like boxes of stuff where we look at them and we're like, I don't want to lift it anymore because my back's going to go out. I'm just giving these away.
Yeah, I think like the comic community here, like specifically here, could come up with something. I mean, I don't know national scale what they would do, but I'm pretty sure the shops and the owners here would come up with something and just keep rolling with it. But yeah, like nationally, I'm not sure how that would work. But yeah. Okay. So we talked about the first, was it 6 episodes of Daredevil Born Again when it came out, but now the series is or the first season is complete on that. So I wanted to talk to you guys and ask you, like, first off, like non-spoilery, what was your thoughts on this first season?
I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I really liked all the Daredevil that came before. It felt like a logical continuation of it.
I liked it a lot. I wish that I feel like there is a measure of false advertising in the amount of characters that we got versus what I was like what they were presenting versus what we got. I feel like, but otherwise, that was really good.
Oh, what were you? Oh, I guess we'll get to spoilers in a minute, eh?
Sure.
Chris?
Yeah, great stuff. Like you said, when we talked about before, that I didn't even notice he wasn't in the Daredevil costume for a really long time.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. We can talk spoilery stuff now. Ryan, go ahead.
So like all the promotional stuff and everything was the three, Foggy, Karen, and Matt. And we got Matt. And then we got this other character who kind of served the same purpose as Karen, but just not Karen. And then we got this other character that kind of served the same purpose as Foggy, but just not Foggy. And I didn't like that. But otherwise, I really liked everything else.
Why do you think that was?
I don't
Why-
know. I don't know for sure. I read some rumors about why what's her name? The actor's name? Karen's name?
And well,
Yeah, she didn't want to be part of it until they did the rewrites and stuff.
Okay.
I don't. And then I read a lot about actor named Foggy.
Eldon Henson.
Yeah, he was quite shocked about him being having the death scene and such, and him dying in the first episode. So I don't know why, but other than I know there's got to have been some type of drama in addition to some decisions.
So I think because I was under the impression when they were first doing it before the rewrites, they didn't ask Deborah Anwell or Eldon Henson to be in it, and it was John Bernthal that said he wouldn't do it as the Punisher until the rewrites. So then he jumped back on board, and the other two, again, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, they weren't even approached about coming back. And then during the rewrites, they were brought back. But the thing for me is Eldon Henson is confirmed for season 2 of Daredevil. So of Born Again. So he's gonna be in the next season. We don't know if it's flashbacks. We don't know if it's something else. But
he's Madcap Mike Murdock.
Yep, that the whole time he was Mike Murdock. And then obviously we got Karen at the end. She came back, and she's in season 2 as well. So I think we're gonna end up getting more. But I did think they needed to, because we've had 3 seasons of the main 3. I think they're trying to expand like his inner circle a little bit without like completely getting rid of the other 2. But again, I think we're just gonna have to wait until season 2 to see what's going on. But I did want to ask if you guys had an episode that stood out to you more than some of the other ones, or like a favorite moment.
Are you seeing the episode up there, Andrew?
I'm just thinking about it.
So one of my favorite episodes was the bank heist episode with Kamala's dad, when he kept trying to show Matt the custom Funko Pop to a blind guy for a good couple minutes before he goes, oh, and puts it back down. I love that, but I loved it because it was one of those things where he could take all of these guys out easy, right? Like he could do it as Daredevil, but he's there as Matt, so he's got to come up with ways to take them out without, showing that he's a superhero. I loved his interaction with the Irish gangster guy when he's like, "Wow, you're an orphan, you're Irish, and you're a solicitor and blind, man. You're checking off every box." But yeah, I really loved that one because it was different than the other ones, and it was very focused on what was happening just in that bank for the most part. But yeah, no, I just loved it. I know some people out there, like, they say it felt like a filler episode, but I was like, I don't feel that way. I really enjoyed it. So that was one of my favorite episodes, I think, of the season.
I understand the sentiment that it was it was a filler episode, but I also really liked it. Like, I thought it was very, like, germane and to the story, and giving like some more info and insight into where Matt is right now. But I do feel like it was very, like, here's a side quest kind of introduction to it, and I can see, like, and here we just threw Kamala's dad in there. Like, I get why they would think that, but I also really liked it and thought it was worthwhile.
Chris, what about you?
I like the what was it, the second episode, the Hector episode?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it was a court scene. Matt does law, and so that felt it felt a little rushed, but it was also like, hey, you got everything into kind of the episode, and it really showed, that Daredevil still had what it takes to that was still as good as, like, what was from the previous two seasons, which was really not assured at that point, right? Like, wasn't there something? I remember reading something where it was like, didn't Kevin Feige get involved because it was just a mess, and he was like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm apparently need to be in charge of the children now. Like, make one of the things that drove me nuts about the entire season is that the script editor, like, needs to look, like, make sure that people want to say to him, "Don't you see, Matt?" So many times they'd be like, "Look, Matt, look at this, Matt. Can't you see this right now?" And it's like, he's blind. You know what I mean? Like, I understand, you know what I mean, that you're just using idioms here and stuff, but it's like, would people sit there and tell him and maybe not apologize next? That's not what I meant. Dude.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
I wish. I will know.
You hope it was intentional?
Yeah, I would never attribute something like that to someone, being like, hey, I'm going to cleverly put this in here. That'd be great. But also, if they said that they had done it on purpose, I wouldn't believe. I don't know if I believe them.
I would love to see someone do a cut of Daredevil Born Again. And every time anyone says that, they cut in that clip of Will Ferrell from Anchorman 2. I'm blind, just over and over and over every single time. That would be hilarious.
It feels like just Andrew, I was going to say, I helped a little bit with our website with ADA compliance in a previous job, and a little bit in this one. And it just seems to be one of those things where it's like, if you just didn't notice it, and if there's a whole bunch of people in the room who are like, yeah, this looks great, you know what I mean? And we just never think about it. And Matt even has lines where he says, I see this, or something like that. And I understand he's saying I comprehend, but he's also, like, looking at something. And so it's every once in a while that I feel like it just got all the way through on accident, and it doesn't really detract unless you're, like, paying attention to it. And like I said, I thought it was more funny than anything.
I see what you're saying there, and I agree with you.
What?
What about you, Andrew? What anything for you stand out that you liked?
I didn't read any of the Charles Soule Daredevil stuff, and so I got to learn about a new Daredevil character, Muse,
yeah.
And I like the idea of an artist supervillain, even if what he's doing is pretty horrific. It certainly beats previous artist supervillains like Typeface or Crazy Quilt or
Yeah,
the Painter of 1,000 Perils.
they definitely got the. I think part of the thing that made Muse work was they got the creepy serial killer vibe from him, like, because sometimes it doesn't translate from page to screen, but I think they did a very good job of sticking to it. And yeah, because he looks just like he does in the comics. Like, that's exactly how I would picture him in real life. So I think they did a fantastic job with that.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to look him up and learn about Muse, and so that was a fun opportunity. I liked reading about a character that has a rather short history because he's rather new, right?
Yep. And they're bringing him back from the dead currently in Daredevil Unleash Hell, because why not?
Well, Daredevil villains have a hard time staying dead anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, this time he's going after Elektra, and she really does like to just kill people, so we'll see.
Well, maybe they want to swap stories about coming back from the dead, given how frequently she does it.
Right.
Techniques.
What was that?
Compare techniques.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you get stabbed this way, it's a lot easier.
When the beast does it, it feels like this. Yeah. When it's an amulet, it feels like,
I did out loud say at one point in this, because there were the people out there that are, oh, is Disney ever gonna do the stuff that they did in the Netflix show? And at first I like to point out they did, because that was Disney before, but okay, it said Netflix first. Sure. When Wilson Fisk squishes a man's head and pushes his jaw clean off, not even clean off, it's hanging there, and pushes the top of his skull and brain out of his head, I was like, all right, Disney. Okay. I did not expect that. I thought they were just gonna pan up and he was gonna get squished with, like, sprayed with blood or something like that. Nope. They they went all out with that, and I was surprised, but I was like, okay, all right. I see where you're setting the bar now. So that was great, and I did like the way the story went of Matt and Wilson Fisk kind of returning to their default, right? So you see Matt trying to not be Daredevil, not be, not help people, and Wilson Fisk has got this facade of being a good guy and trying to run the city. But there's that one episode where they return back to where they are, where Matt literally says fuck it and puts on the suit and goes and saves I'm Hector's niece. I'm forgetting her name. Maya? No, not Maya.
And
I'm not good at this right
now.
now.
No, it's not that either.
But anyway, when they
Ava.
Yep. Yeah, Ava Ayala. Yep, that's what it was. When he goes to save her, and then also my earlier theory about that Wilson Fisk has the guy that slept with Vanessa locked up, and he just goes down there and beats him up every week. That too, like those both being the same thing. I really loved, again, things that like I've read about the character that I like about the character that were shown. When Matt goes to see Bullseye in prison, and he tells him, isn't that what good men do? They save their greatest enemies. And then at the end of that episode, he takes a bullet for Wilson Fisk from Bullseye. So I loved that. But yeah, and I'm glad it ended when it did, but I'm also like, when is season 2 now? Like, when is that going to come out? Because now the speculation's going crazy because Matt says he, Wilson Fisk has an army of like dirty cops and stuff. And he says, we need an army. And I've seen tons of different like takes on where they could go with it. A lot of people are thinking if you're sticking with the Mayor Fisk stuff, you get a lot of the street level heroes, the Spider-Mans, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, like all the old Defenders. Or the other theory that I heard was that it could possibly be the Hand. And this is a lead into Shadowland type stuff because there's already images of Matt in the black Daredevil suit from season 2. But he's worn so many black suits at different times. It's not, necessarily, that's 100% what they're doing, because he was wearing a black suit at the beginning of the Charles Soule run too. And he wasn't a, evil ninja master then. So, what do you guys think with the we need an army? Where do you sit on that fence?
I think depending on the budget, it might just be normal people
rising up in the community.
Right.
That's interesting. When you said that, like, sorry.
I want Defenders back. I want my Iron Fist, damn it. I want my lightsaber Colleen Wing.
It's Daredevil. It's always going to go back to ninjas, right?
Yeah. Is this how they're going to bring Elektra back too?
Undead
Elektra
ninjas.
lives again.
That wasn't an echo. That was just how many times. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see it include some more of the Marvel universe with, I doubt it, but Spider-Man would be really cool, right?
I doubt. I would believe Madam Web before Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that is way down unless it happens to coincide with the next Spider-Man movie and they use a cameo in the TV show as promotion for the movie. I don't know, but
that sounds like wishful thinking, dude.
It definitely is. It definitely is. I would
going back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we know how many great reveals were on that show.
Hey, you know what? I'll say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was the best after the Hail Hydra thing from Civil War, when like their whole world was closed. That was when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was probably its best. So it kind of worked.
Yeah, and I really like that time that Thor and Captain America and Captain Marvel and all the other great big heroes showed up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Remember that time?
Yeah, it was Lady Sif, though.
Don't get me wrong, Sif was great, but you know what I mean? Like, Spider-Man's not going to end up on one of these shows, dude. And I'll eat my felt or whatever, but like, it's not, I don't see that happening.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I think it's wishful thinking, but I would like to see, Jessica Jones and like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage would be great, especially if they're leaning into the Mayor Fisk thing, because Luke Cage ends up being, the other guy in that battle, right? Yeah, Wilson Fisk and then Luke Cage, who then takes over as mayor after that. I don't know if they're gonna full on do that, but I'd like that. I'd like that, I think, more than Shadowland.
There's a lot of pressures on different things about like what they're going to do in this storyline. Are there going to be any administrations that are going to be angry about a TV show or a company and say, hey, how come you keep showing like this evil political leader being, harassed by these so-called superheroes. I don't think we like that TV show anymore. You know what I mean?
Listen, it's fictional, man. Just get over it.
Right.
They'd have to be smart enough to make that connection.
That's the other thing. Yeah. These kids would all be real mad if they knew how to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the like having the bigger heroes and stuff in it is certainly, but the other thing is, depending on how hard the like tariffs hit Sony's LCD market, they may be shopping around some of that Spider-Man, looking for that one-time Spider-Man money, because
y'all want to rent a Spider-Man?
Yeah, right. Oh, make it real easy. You know what I mean? Oh, so many people buying LCDs right now. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all of those things. It would be nice if it was just based on like what would be the coolest story. But as we've seen, like since COVID, like how many of the decisions had to be made because something in the world happened and then they couldn't do it according to plan. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm with you though, with the get the Defenders back together, but yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. Be like the thing that like I thought about this when in that bank episode when it was like we made up this gang of Irish thieves. It was like there's no one in the Marvel universe that could be robbing a bank that would be a costumed villain of some sort. You know what I mean?
You're hoping for Killer Shrike?
I was gonna say Stiltman. There's your Stiltman intro right there. He
Somebody's
escaped on the stilts.
Got a gun, you know what I mean, is fine. You know what I mean? Somebody who was, but like you're in a superhero universe, you know what I mean? It was like they were stealing a jewel, you know what I mean? It was like, this is 1982 or something like that. Like I enjoyed the story, but it was also like you said, this universe teeming with heroes and villains, and you got like O'Malley O'Toole, like the most Irish guy of Ireland ever, on to steal things on St. Patrick's Day. It was like, okay, it was fine, I guess. But I think they're so scared now, Marvel is, to use any character that could be the next Groot. That they're like, well, now they're protective of everybody.
Yeah,
and
that's why I'm not going to get a Hypno Hustler movie.
Yeah, you're not going to get a Dr. Bong anywhere, you know what I mean? Like you're just they're like this is going to sell a lot of pops, man. Like don't waste them on nothing. That's like when Deathlock showed up in Agents of Shield. That's like they have no plans for him whatsoever. They're like here's the 10 characters you can use, because they're in no universe do we see ever having them featured in anything.
Yeah, I could see that. All right, I wanted to move on to Thunderbolts that just came out last Thursday. I want to get you guys' initial thoughts on it before we talk spoilers. Chris, you go first this time.
I enjoyed it so much when I saw it. I was afraid I was being biased. I'm a huge fan of the Thunderbolts all the way from the very beginning, up through everything. Everything is great. And so when I saw the movie, I was like, I went and saw it at a press screening. So we actually had like the people there asking us like, what did you like? What didn't you like? And stuff. And I said, I'm afraid I like this. I can't decide if I like this movie so much on its merits or because I'm a huge fan of the Thunderbolts. So I don't think I can be unbiased in my opinion here.
And they said, thanks for nothing, mister.
Kind of. Yeah.
They're like, we can't put that on a poster.
I had a couple things to tell him, and I said, you write that down on your clipboard and tell Mr. Feige. You know what I mean? There were a couple things. We'll talk about it in a minute. But overall, like, step in the correct direction for Marvel movies.
It
Ryan?
was quite good.
Oh,
I would
Andrew,
see it in the theaters
go.
again or buy it on DVD. Likely both.
Brian?
That was the best Marvel movie in Phase 4 or 5. Like it's the best Marvel movie since Endgame, I think. Like I loved it. And I love the memes of people saying that I wanted a superhero movie, not a therapy session. Yes, I loved it.
I was surprised at how Doom Patrol like the ending was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really reminded me more of a Doom Patrol story than a Thunderbolt story. And so it's like, hey, Marvel just showed me something they've never shown me before.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it too. Because usually there's times during the Marvel movies where I'll, whoever I'm seeing it with, I'll be like, hey, that was neat, and then go back to the movie. I was so focused in the entire time, like I felt like I was watching it by myself. That's how enveloped I was in the movie and engrossed in it. It was so good. I immediately sent a message to Travis, who's a big fan of the Century, and I was like, so how do you feel with your guy? And he was like, I was so happy. And I was like, good, that's that stamp of approval, because I know the Century, but Century is kind of, Travis knows way more about him than I do, and he's way more invested. So when he says it was good and I thought it was good, I was like, okay, cool, they must have done that character very well then. So, but yeah, okay, so let's talk our get into kind of spoilery territory about some stuff in the movie. Ryan, what were some things in the movie that you really enjoyed?
I loved the portrayal of like the Void and how they like tied that into all like his mental health problems and like the team's kind of mental health problems. And I really like the Yelena and Bob's journey through the film was just so impactful to me. And I really, really liked it. And I thought it was really well done. And I thought it was really well told. And yeah, that was my favorite part.
Andrew?
Oh, well, like I said, Marvel showed me something they hadn't shown me before, which was surreal, emotional, character-driven superhero movies. And it had been a while since we'd seen something like that. I'm reminded of like the original Captain America movie, which had a lot of very emotional moments in it as well. And so it's really feels like they're getting it back. Like I agree with Chris, it's a step in the right direction. Certainly, I am getting a little worried about how much of a nostalgia fest the Secret War, Doom War thing is going to go on. You know what I mean? It sounds like everybody's going to be in it, and so I'm a little worried about that after Endgame. But no complaints about Thunderbolts. I want to hear Chris's complaints. I haven't heard them yet.
Oh, the complaints.
He's been very mum about them with me, so I want to hear.
Yeah, so like all the way into spoiler territory. If you were iffy about whether you wanted to listen to the spoilers, this is the spoiler. How dare you take away Taskmaster from me in the first 2 minutes?
That was my biggest problem.
I was so angry, and it bothered me the rest of the movie. I enjoyed the rest of the movie less, and I loved it. I liked it at like a 99%, so I was at a 97 because every 3 minutes I sat there thinking, like, how are they going to bring her back? Where? And I thought, and I know because they shot her in the head. That's movie talk for she's not coming back.
And incinerated her.
And incinerated her. Off camera. Off camera. Implied incinerated her. So
Implied Incineration. That's
the corpse too.
That's the episode name right there.
Like a band of murder hobo D&D players.
Yes, it would have if they really wanted it. Then it would have been on a monitor in one of those in Victoria's thing, and would have shown like the atomization of it. You know what I mean? Because I was so excited. They all show up, and Taskmaster's costume looks so cool, and Ghost's
Mhm.
costume looks so cool, and I'm like, man, they're gonna look so cool in the rest of this movie. And I was like, she's gone immediately. And so I was really upset about that. Still am.
Katie was upset about it too.
Yeah,
My
and
daughter. Yeah.
I'm I've got a bunch of first appearances from this group of people. I don't mind them going up a little bit, being popular in a movie. You know what I mean? That's not going to do anything for a Taskmaster first appearance. And so that was the first like thing that I was like grumpy about. The other thing was, if you at a 30,000-foot level, this movie was mostly setup. It was a lot of setup. There was a lot of like of character stuff in it, but I also thought that at the very end, it was like when they get revealed as being the new Avengers, and then the Fantastic Four show up, and it's like, oh, okay, this is all setup. You know what I mean? It was all, this whole thing is to be the setup for those next two movies, and so it was like, yeah, I felt a little. I loved those. It was two sides to it, right? It was like, what is the two sides? And that's why when I got to the end, I was like, it's not a ringing endorsement the day I saw it. It is now. But the day I saw it, those things drove me nuts, where it was like, and then they even tried to hide it from us. Did you see that the very first trailer for Thunderbolts came out, and then the second time it came out, they digitally added Taskmaster to a different scene to try to hide that they didn't get rid of her at the very beginning. And so it was like, oh, well, that's why. That boo. You know what I mean? But the, like you said, the Yelena storyline, and but everything was better every time David Harbour was on screen.
Yep. I was just about to say
what I am all for. So the thing about the Defenders that I will contrast with the team coming together on this one. The Defenders, I didn't care for, because everyone on the team is a Wolverine character. I'm a gritty loner who don't like other people on the team. You know what I mean? Each one. And so it's nobody's happy to be there. Nobody wants to be friends with anybody else on the team. And it got there a little bit later, but not to the point. At this one, Red Guardian is so goddamn excited to be on a team with people, and you can feel it everywhere. And he's trying to hold them together with nothing other than, he's like, please give this to me.
I need this. You don't know how much I need this
so badly. You know what I mean? And how much of it is his sincerity that turns everything around, where he is like, I'm going to own the things that I've done wrong. But God damn it, can we do this? You know, and it convinces people. It convinces some of the worst people alive. They're like, yeah. And that's what I love about the Thunderbolts, is bad people who did bad things, who realize, hey, I kind of like doing good things, and turn around. And as much of how much I liked him, overshadowed how much I actually liked U.S. Agent. Even though they don't call him that in the whole thing.
I have been laughing to myself all weekend with Bob goes to U.S. Agent and says, "You were Captain America? You're an asshole." Which perfectly describes that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the line in the movie when he was like, when they were like, man, you've got a family and you still go out and do all this stuff. How do you do it? And you see him look down and he's like, oh, you just do it day by day. And it was like, oh God. I mean, he's done bad things, but come on, you know, he's working through it here. So, and I love that they never bent back his shield. He just uses
it's a taco.
For me, 14 months later, he still has the taco shield. I don't understand. Like, I was fine with it up until the 14 months later, and I was like, why does he still have a taco shield?
Because there's no one that can bend it back for him. Until Thor or the Hulk shows up or something. But no, you're talking about Red Guardian just being so excited. I started laughing because there's the scene where Bucky has them all tied up And if you notice, he's got like rebar wrapped around John Walker and all the super soldiers, which there's a lot of super soldiers in this group. I was just like, there's a lot of serum going around between these guys. But when he's talking on the phone with Mel and he's like, Bob, Century program, there's a shot where you can see Bucky's about to say, hey, you know, let's make a team, let's go get it. And David Harbour is sitting there with his mouth open, giddy with anticipation about what he's about to say. It's only a split second, but I noticed it. I was like, oh, he's gonna lose it. And he's like, all right, let's team up. And that's where he's like, yes. But yeah, no, I loved it. I loved Val, the way that they portrayed her. Even at the end where she's like, guys, no, don't come chase me through this curtain to this
That was
conference.
genius.
And I was like, she's still the same. Even after everything has gone down, she's still the exact same person. She learned nothing except what team to pick.
One nitpick. Bucky was a spy trained in infiltration. He is terrible at lying in this movie. Like atrociously bad.
He's really trying to work on his sincerity because I mean he's got to be a really good congressman now, and they don't lie.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I feel like if Val had pulled that stunt on Cap, he would have taken the mic and be like, "No, she caused all this. Arrest her." You know what I mean? But everybody there is too dumb to do anything about it.
I did think it was, it kind of hit me at the end of the movie. I was like, wow, I just watched a movie with Kurt Russell's kid and Bill Pullman's kid. I'm not old. They're the ones who are old. It's not me. But I did like the story that came out from Lewis Pullman because he was in Top Gun Maverick and his character's name was Bob.
Yeah.
And
I was about to say, I think that it's a good new tradition that all his characters will be Bob.
I guess he asked if they could change the name of the century, and they're like, no, we can't do that. He's like, all right, worth a shot. He's like, can we call him Robert? Yeah, a couple times, but no, he's Bob. I felt like Ghost became the Hawkeye of this group. She got the least anything. She did talk about a couple times, well, I was raised in a lab and trained as an assassin. They're like, okay, cool, moving on. Because everyone kind of got their, deep look into their past and like their mistakes and really working on it. She just was kind of there. And I was like, I mean, it didn't detract from the movie. It was just something I thought about afterward. I was like, yeah, she really didn't. Like, she had some witty, back and forth with everyone. But like when it comes down to like the actual breaking down of the character, she didn't really get much of that in the movie. So I guess that would be my nitpick.
She was also kind of a little bit of a MacGuffin. It was the Ghost will get us out of this situation like several times.
Yeah.
Well, she was the one left with like not the same superpowers as everybody else. Like everybody else is extra strong and extra fast, or some variation of hyper competence, but she can walk through walls and turn invisible, and so that's going to come up in the plot for sure. But I don't remember her in the Ant-Man movie like hurting a lot of people, like killing a lot of people. Maybe I just don't remember it very well, but I feel like they had her kill Taskmaster because she actually hadn't done anything that bad in the movies yet.
Right.
Because she wasn't Black Ops in Ant-Man. She was just trying to get the technology so she doesn't disincorporate, right? Yeah, and so she wasn't really a bad guy. Like they had to have her do something bad because she hadn't done anything
I could
bad
see that.
Yet. Yeah.
I could see that. But yeah.
But no, I get it. They shouldn't have killed Taskmaster because Taskmaster's rad.
and then looted the body.
Yeah.
I was like, the
Ignominious.
disrespect. Oh my goodness. It's like, she doesn't need it. Put it in my pocket. I did like when they were at the bottom of the elevator shaft and she's like, wait a minute, nobody flies. We all just punch and shoot things. Yeah, pretty much.
It was a good call
That
out.
was-
You needed to say that out loud.
Mhm. Yeah.
But the disappointing thing on one hand, at the end when it was like, Sam's talking about making his own Avengers, and like they didn't even show a picture of him. You
Mhm.
can't show up and you just filmed a movie. You were just on set. You know what I mean? You couldn't film like a second with this where he's like, oh, I just got off a video phone call with him. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
what was funny is we were sitting there watching the credits, and my friend that I went to go see it with, it's Andy Farnsworth from KSL 5. He does the movie show. So shout out for his podcast. He was sitting there and he was looking at he reads all the credits to see everybody, all the people who worked on it. And then when it got to the music, it said that the Fantastic Four theme was in it. And he was like, I didn't hear the Fantastic Four theme. And then he turns to me and he goes, oh, there's another after credit that's going to be in that. Okay.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that was kind of neat. Figured out the clue there. But then also it was like, did they figure all that stuff out well into having this movie be done, like having them be the Avengers and moving into Fantastic Four and stuff like that? Because I remember that they added the asterisks later.
Mhm.
And was there a different ending to this movie until they were like, no, we're going to make this like the setup into what was going on?
So it's I looked into that second post-credit scene was actually directed by the Russos on the set of Avengers Doomsday. So not only could they have digitally put Anthony Mackie there, he was on the set. He could have walked over around the corner and popped his head in. Like it wasn't like he wasn't there. They just filmed it then. But I was going to ask you what you guys thought about that last post-credit scene, because the first one was funny.
Yes.
Red Guardian finally got the Wheaties box and he was very happy. But the one that actually has any consequence to later films is the second one. So what did you guys think of that overall, more than what we've already said?
I did one of my stereotypical Ryan gasps the moment that the first frame of that Fantastic Four ship. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited. What do you think the space crisis is that they're not telling the new Avengers about?
I don't know.
The kidnapping
know.
of Kevin Bacon from the Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
We've got to find Kevin. Yeah, I don't know. I assume it's going to be covered in Fantastic Four. I did like that they kind of confirmed what everyone had thought when they said that it was an interdimensional spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
To basically confirm that Fantastic Four takes place in an alternate universe to the main Marvel universe.
I feel like they're definitely going in the there's going to be incursions and Fantastic Four's universe is going to be falling apart, and that's why they're fleeing into this universe. I feel like that's where they're going for sure.
We're going to get Secret Wars 2015.
Yeah, we're going to get Hickman stuff, I think.
Andrew, you love Hickman, right?
Sigh.
But yeah. Overall, Thunderbolts, I think, was phenomenal. It was, definitely a step in the right direction. Probably, I'm trying to think back of the Marvel movies. I think Deadpool Wolverine was good in its way, right? And then before that, I think it would be the Spider-Man one, with Doctor Strange. I think that was probably the last one that I was like, yeah, now that was a Marvel movie. Not that I didn't dislike I didn't dislike Marvels or anything like that, but I didn't get the same feeling. But then I did with Thunderbolts. So I was like, okay, yeah, no, I like this. I am into this. So, all right. Before we wrap up, do you guys have any comics you would like to talk about? Nope. Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, real
Go
quick. So like the Marvel, the Marvel event that's going on right now, the Doom, One World Under Doom, has been pretty cool actually. It's like I said, everything feels like, and I know this stuff gets planned years beforehand, but boy, does it feel like a couple of these things are just made for the times. The Thunderbolts Doomstrike #1 came out a couple weeks ago, and it kind of puts together the two different teams. So the classic '90s team, and being led by a new Citizen V. Spoilers for this comic if you're gonna check this one out, but Valentina DeFontaine is actually Citizen V in this version of it, and so she gets some of the old Thunderbolts together. It's the Bucky Barnes Thunderbolts, and it's also like the Songbird and Mach 1 and Atlas and stuff, along with some of the Starjammers, because they're doing a bunch of it in space. So, like, Space Dad shows up,
And
Which
his bitchin' mustache.
Yeah. Best mustache in the universe.
Which Starjammers?
So it's what's his name?
Corsair.
Yeah, it's Corsair. That's the only one that I recognize.
Oh, no Chode or Hepzibah.
I have not seen any chodes in these comics except for Techno. He's kind of a chode.
Little bit.
Yeah. But Doom is actually like playing 4D chess, where he's anticipating everybody's rebellions and he's making it look like and he's making it look sympathetic to his leadership, like that he's the only person that can protect the Earth. Latest version of him in it, he's replaced his cape with an American flag. And it's a good read. I've been digging a lot of this stuff in here.
Yeah, the only thing I've read this week was I got caught up on Daredevil, and for some reason they decided that they wanted to put him back in the 90s black armor, and the way they write it in the story is, my red suit had little bits of blood in it and it didn't feel good on my skin, so I'm wearing this black one for a little bit. And I'm like, all right, cool. It was chafing your thighs. Cool. I'll take that as just wait till the other one gets back from the cleaner. But yeah, no, I've been enjoying it. I also started into getting caught up on X-Men, the Cyclops team. But I haven't gotten through those ones yet. But yeah, I mean, the Daredevil's just kind of been the same as it has the rest of the run. Like, it's not great, but it's okay. But I'll keep reading it because it's Daredevil. But yeah, so do you guys have anything else? No? Okay. All right. Plug your stuff.
Check out Validi Studios wherever fine social medias are sold.
All right. Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. You can find us anywhere, Nerd Dome Podcast, Facebook's, Instagrams, Twitter, X's, whatever. We're all there. But yeah, thanks for listening. Ryan?
Don't forget to subscribe.
You may now exit the dome.
Oh, fuck responsibility.
I can see the whole time.
Hail Hydra.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say here.
See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.